Good morning, everyone. This is AG here. I'm sure you realized by now that I'm not there at the Skype conference. There was actually a scheduling conflict with work, and I'm fairly sure my boss would kill me if I was on my phone for an hour. Instead, I've prepared for you this video. I was going to do a little webcam visual thing here, but remember how back in January I said I was a cat person? Well, I am now a cat, hooray. Anyways, the dish I've prepared is called the haggis. It's a Scottish dish, so I've prepared for you a background music. Now, the haggis is made primarily from an animal known as the wild haggis. It roams the Scottish Highlands and has a peculiar trait where the legs on one side of its body are longer than that of the other. Depending on which side is longer, it runs up hills either clockwise or counterclockwise, making it quite the unusual sight. Now, the reason I've chosen this dish is two reasons, actually. The first reason is because this music's too loud, isn't it? There. First reason is because Scotland has nothing to do with me. Now, technically speaking, I am British by birth, but I'm not Scottish, so I figured this would be a nice learning experience. I mean, I could very well have done like sushi or something, but then I wouldn't be learning anything, so yeah, haggis. Second reason is the more interesting reason. Everything I've told you about the wild haggis so far is all a lie. This is actually a joke to fool foreigners. Apparently 33% of Americans believe it to be true. The haggis is actually made from sheep's pluck being the heart, liver, and lungs. Now let's see, next question is the history. The history of the haggis dish is actually not too certain. One theory is that it came from Vikings, where they were introduced by foreigners. Another one is that it was simply a commoner's meal prepared for sheep drovers. Now, you see, historically, when a lord wanted to slaughter an animal for a feast or whatever, the slaughterer would be given the innards, the offals, for payment. These were still nutritious, they're still meat, so the commoners would prepare these as meals for these sheep drovers on their long journeys. That is, I guess, the more logical explanation. Now, at the same time, the preparation method of haggis is very similar to a preservation method after hunting. See, after hunting, you could eat the meat, of course, but then the organs, they would be chopped up and they would stuff it inside the stomach of the animal as a means of preservation. Then they would boil it later and eat that. That is essentially the preparation method for haggis, so yeah, more historical facts. Next question, let's see. Recipe I want to try. Now, the basic recipe for the haggis is, of course, the sheep's pluck, as I mentioned, with onions, oatmeal, suet, which is fat, and also salt and spices, all mixed in stock and then cooked inside the sheep's stomach. Now, where sheep's stomach is in low availability, it can be replaced with ox bung or maybe even artificial casing, like with sausages. Either way, the casing is not... you don't eat the casing, so doesn't matter too much, I guess. But anyways, back to the main question, recipe I want to try. As any self-respecting chef would tell you, cooking is less about following recipes than it is knowing what to do with the ingredients. So, to me, as long as the core is there, that's what matters. At the same time, though, I'm curious of what haggis would taste like with green curry and coconut milk. I'm aware one of you did pad thai as your dish. So, yeah, I don't know, maybe you can imagine as well how it might taste like. Next question is an alternative that's healthier. So I couldn't exactly find anything that's healthier because the recipe itself is already pretty healthy, but I did find a vegetarian alternative. Now, if you look at the recipe, everything else seems pretty straightforward. Yeah, vegetable oil, onions, ground peanuts, alright. But then soy sauce and lemon juice I found particularly interesting. More interesting though, if you scroll down even further, like step one's pretty normal, you heat the vegetable, sauce plan, blah blah blah, and then simmer, everything's pretty normal. But then... baking pan. Then if you look at step 3, this is actually baked for 30 minutes or until firm. So I found this to be particularly interesting because it's a very personalized take on a traditional dish. Now, for contrast, if you take a traditional recipe, this part here being the haggis, of course, this is potato, this is turnips, and the recipe usually is called haggis neeps and tatties, neeps being the turnips, tatties being the potatoes. Anyways, normally, see, this is ox bung, but the traditional recipe is the sheep's stomach. Once the... where is it? Once this whole mix is ready, instead of baking it, the traditional recipe calls for stuffing it in the stomach and then boiling it. So you would do this kind of thing, and this is the finished product, which looks an awful lot like this finished product. This is actually a legitimate finished haggis, this is the fake thing. So yeah, this is just a joke among the Scottish to fool Americans. What's next? Might as well show you the rest of the pictures I found, actually. So, haggis itself doesn't look too appetizing. It looks like this. I mean, it tastes great, yes, but plating is also very important in terms of cooking and such. So these are just a couple that I found really appetizing, I guess. Next question was, let's see, the restaurant in Toronto. There aren't actually that many restaurants that serve haggis in Toronto, but I found this one, the Caledonian. Caledonia is actually a no longer used name for the geographical area that is now Scotland. So I guess the name caught my attention. Now this restaurant, from the whiskey offerings to the atmosphere to even the staff, I guess, everything about it screams Scotland, so I figured if I was going to present something in a video, this would be the one to show you. Let's see some videos. My internet connection here sucks. Oh yeah, I just moved, by the way. Successful move. I didn't die. Nothing exploded. It was great. So yeah, it'd be pretty interesting to try the haggis they offer here, but you know, currently with the whole coronavirus thing going on, everything is closed, so yeah. On that note, before I wrap up this video, I just wanted to say, really hope all of you are safe and healthy and not dying. On a lighter note, speaking of coronavirus, I'd always considered Corona to be a pretty beautiful female name. That's, I guess, a celestial name, kind of like Aurora, really. But anyways, that's beside the point. What else do I have to talk about? That's it, right? Let's see, the intro, history, recipe I want to try, alternate, restaurant, that is everything. So, yeah, that's my presentation on the wild haggis, the animal that doesn't exist. And yeah, that's it. Cheers!